Greetings dear learners. Welcome to official YouTube channel of SRN International School, Jaipur, Rajasthan. In this video, I, Faculty of Chemistry, will be explaining the working and application of various cells and batteries given in chapter Electrochemistry of grade 12th subject chemistry from NCERT book. There are two types of cells, electrolytic cell and electrochemical or galvanic cell. So on the left hand side, the galvanic cell, it is a cell when the energy is released during a spontaneous redox reaction, which is converted into electrical energy and electricity is produced. In case of electrolytic cell, the electrical energy is supplied so that a non-spontaneous reaction can take place. Now, in both the cases, the redox reaction is taking place. So, in both the cells, the anode is the electrode where oxidation occurs, and at cathode, the reduction occurs. And in this way, galvanic cell releases the energy, whereas in case of electrolytic cell, energy is supplied so that the redox reaction occurs. Galvanic cells are of two types, primary cells and secondary cells. Cells are the devices that produces a potential difference when the charges are moving through them. So there is a voltage created, or they add the voltage or EMF. Now they do this by using the chemical reactions. So primary cells are those cells which cannot be recharged, whereas secondary cells are rechargeable. So in the case of primary cells, once the cells they start using the energy, they give out the electrical energy, then all the energy is when given up, then they cannot react again, and thus it becomes the cells they are dead. Whereas the case of secondary cells, once the cell gives up all its energy, then a chemical reaction can be reversed by using charger, and in this way it can again be recharged and can be used. So example for primary cells are like zinc carbon cells, Leclanche cells, dry cells, mercury cells, button cells, and secondary cells are like car batteries, fuel cell, etc. So the first primary cell that we are going to study is dry cell or Leclanche cell. These were invented by Georges Leclanche, a French chemist. It is also its acid version is that when we consider the cell, then inner case of the cell is made up of zinc, which acts as an anode, and there is a paste of manganese dioxide and ammonium chloride with water, and it is inside the moist paste, and it has a carbon rod which acts as a cathode. Now both the half reactions occur, that is, there's a reaction occurring at anode and cathode, and thus the current starts moving, and thus electricity is produced. The EMF of this cell is 1.5 volt. Advantage is that it is inexpensive, it is safe, and we can get of many sizes. We can get these cells of many sizes. They can be small size, bigger size. Disadvantages is that it drains out the high current, and ammonia is built up. Thus, there is a short shelf life. So now we'll do with the second primary cell, that is mercury cell, which is zinc amalgam and mercury oxide in KOH. Mercury cell was developed in 1942, which is another dicell, a primary cell. It is also called as button cell. Its cell voltage is 1.34 volt. And here a zinc mercury amalgam is used as an anode, and cathode is the paste of mercury oxide, graphite, and water, and the redox reaction that occurs here. And the advantage is that it maintains a fairly constant voltage during its lifetime. So now let us study about secondary cells. So secondary cells, they are known as rechargeable batteries, storage cells, or accumulators. And examples are like lead storage batteries, or the car batteries, then nickel cadmium batteries, and lithium ion batteries. So in this lead storage battery, that's the car battery, as we can see in the figure, this car battery is of 12 volt and it is a multiple cells. That is, this whole battery is made up of 6 cells and each of these cells are of 2 volts. So that makes up the whole car battery of 12 volts. When we consider each of the cell, then it has acid, which is sulfuric acid, dilute sulfuric acid, in which anode is spongy lead and the cathode is lead oxide. And now when it is the reaction occurs, the redox reactions occur and the electricity is produced, and thus the whole 2 volt battery, that is the 12 volt battery, the potential difference which is there is then used up and it gets discharged. Now in this lead storage battery, when electrochemical reaction is occurring, then in that case the there is a release of energy and the cell gets discharged and the cell stops working. Then and during that time there is a deposit of lead sulfate on both the electrodes, that is on anode and cathode. As you can see in the figure, the lead sulfate is accumulated, that is white color substance starts depositing. Now, this cell is now again charged by connecting it to DC, that is direct current, and here it acts as an electrolytic cell. Now it will act as an electrolytic cell and the reverse reaction will occur. So at anode, the lead is deposited with the release of sulfuric acid, and at cathode, lead oxide is deposited with the release of sulfuric acid, and the concentration of acid increases, and now the cell gets charged. It gets charged up and it can be reused. Another secondary cell is nickel cadmium cell, and here anode is cadmium hydroxide and cathode is nickel hydroxide, both separated by separators, and it is in the form of a jelly roll. The redox reaction takes place and energy is released, which is converted into electrical energy. After it gets discharged, recharging takes place and reverse reaction occurs. Lithium-ion battery is another rechargeable battery composed of cells in which lithium ions, they move from negative electrode anode through an electrolyte to the positive electrode cathode with a separator in between them during discharge and back when charging takes place. So these are used in products like electronics, toys, then wireless headphones, electric vehicles, electric scooty, electric cars, which you can see now running, so etc. Alkali fuel cell. Alkali fuel cell was invented by William Robert Grove. It is an electrochemical cell that converts chemical energy of a fuel into electricity by means of a pair of redox reactions. Example is hydrogen fuel cell, which produces electricity by the reaction of compressed hydrogen and oxygen gas in a solution of potassium hydroxide as an electrolyte. And there is a carbon electrode, carbon is there, which is used as a catalyst, and this is embedded with platinum, which increases the rate of the reaction. It acts as a catalyst. It produces water, electricity, and small amount of heat as long as fuel is supplied. Advantage of the fuel cell is that the reactants are continuously supplied to the electrodes from the reservoir. They do not get discharged when the chemicals are consumed. They are not polluting, they don't pollute, and its efficiency is up to 70% compared to conventional combustion based power plants that generates electricity at the efficiency of 33 to 35%. That it is used, it is also used to power the vehicles like cars, buses, and it was also used in Apollo space craft to provide both electricity and drinking water. Dear students, I hope you must have understood the topic. Keep learning, keep exploring. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more informative videos.